Spiritual liberation is often portrayed as a sudden, mystical flash of insight, a lightning bolt from the heavens. But the earliest instructional texts describe a different reality, a rigorous, observable process of clearing the mind's obscurities. The core problem these texts address is a concept called vasanas. These are deeply recorded psychological memories and habitual desires that operate beneath our conscious awareness. They generate the constant impulses that trap us in a repetitive cycle of action and reaction. The Mokṣopāya, an ancient manual later known as the Yoga Vāsiṣṭha, organizes the resolution of this suffering into a technical process for dismantling the mind's internal architecture. Research by Indologist Walter Slage shows that the original text relies on a framework called Sapta Bhūmikā. This is a strictly defined 7-stage evolution of knowledge. This Sapta Bhūmikā serves as a psychological master blueprint. It suggests that becoming a jivan mukta, a living, liberated being, is the result of systematically identifying and dismantling specific layers of human illusion. The 7 stages begin with an active phase. Across the first 3 levels, the seeker remains bound by the illusion of the physical world, but they are working to attenuate their attachment to it. We can track this progress through the yogi's karmic load. These 3 meters represent accumulated karma from the past, the current karma of this life, and future karma generated by present desires. In stage 1, the seeker develops a distaste for worldly pleasures, yet all 3 meters remain at full capacity. In stage 2, right inquiry, the focus shifts from reading scriptures to the direct observation of the mind. The seeker analyzes the non-existence of the world and applies those insights to daily life. By stage 3, the mind abandons complex conceptualizations. Desires begin to thin out, and as the mind stops producing fresh impulses, the generation of future karma drops. The Ashtavakra Gita describes this milestone as vasanalessness. It is a state of mental stillness where memories of the past no longer procreate fresh disturbances in the individual ego. This is a universal yogic benchmark. Vyasa's commentary on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras identifies this exact level of attainment, the point where a person has eliminated the actual causes of pain. This first phase is a process of subtraction. The practitioner is surgically removing the mental friction and conditioning that bind human beings to suffering. This effort leads to stage 4, the attainment of reality. This is the irreversible threshold between the active seeker and the liberated master. At this stage, the mind is cleared of agitation and dullness. The qualities of rajas and tamas are removed, leaving only the pure clarity of sattva. To the yogi, the physical world no longer registers as a solid, independent reality. Instead, it appears as an insubstantial, dreamlike projection. The yogi is now called a Brahmavid, or knower of reality. They remain subject to the momentum of past karma, but they have entered a volatile phase of transition. Once the illusion of duality is pierced, the mind cannot be convinced of its absolute reality again. This realization marks the point of no return. This leads to a difficult paradox. How does a person continue to function in society once their personal sense of ego has dissolved? In stage 5, unaffected detachment, the yogi performs social duties, but loses the internal sense of being the doer. Actions happen spontaneously, without a sense of personal agency. The Mandukya describes this as the yoga of no contact. The mind operates free from the illusion of perceptions, external anxieties, and the results of actions. By stage 6, external objects cease to appear as separate entities. The yogi acts only when prompted by the environment or the needs of others. At this level, past and future karmas are entirely destroyed. All that remains is a small sliver of current momentum, just enough to keep the physical body alive. The final stage is turiya. This is a state of perpetual, transcendent absorption. The yogi performs no activities by their own will, resting in perfect equanimity. This final phase demonstrates a specific mode of being, existing as a pure witness, where the individual operates flawlessly within the world while remaining internally untouched by it. The ancient text confirms spiritual liberation is the systematic removal of ignorance, the gradual stripping away of mental conditioning until pure consciousness remains. The Sapta Bhūmikā, when cross-referenced with the Ashtavakra and Patanjali texts, reveals a consistent psychological blueprint that spans different schools of Indian thought. The Mokṣopāya presents liberation as a measurable transpiration, a change in how we know things and how we process our desires. But the map only provides the direction. To reach the goal, the theoretical framework must be applied through specific effort. Now that the 7 stages are identified, we have to look at the tools of the ascent. In the next episode, we will examine the specific meditative techniques used to navigate this terrain, from the first spark of inquiry to the final state of turiya.